And welcome to the main break halftime of the Gold Coast Suns v Adelaide Crows match. And what a pretty good first half it is for the Adelaide Crows. 11 goals, 9.75. Could have been more if we'd have kicked straight. Gold Coast Suns, 4 goals, 3.27. Pretty comprehensive first half from Adelaide, although we'll talk about this in a little bit of a moment, but a little bit of layer rising crept in that quarter, I thought. Let's run through some of the team stats. Disposals 231, 151. Surprisingly, we're even on kicks. It's the most I've seen us handball so far this season. It's a different tactic from us this year, of this match. Not only are we handballing laterally as we always do to clear space and get the ball moving forward, but we're also using handball quite attackingly to move the ball forward. And we saw a couple of passages of play where we just move the ball forward by hand from one end of the ground to the other, running at nearly 80% disposal efficiency, which is just fantastic. We've had 31 to 23 inside 50s, breaking even on contested ball, winning far more of the uncontested ball, and that probably ties in with our high handball rate so far this match. Just a little bit short on marks, even on contested marks, 10 to 6 inside 50 marks inside 50s. Surprisingly, and it's a good sign, we're leading the tackle count even though we're up by a fair bit, 34 to 30. And our forward pressure is fantastic, 8 tackles in the forward 50 to 7. A couple of other stats there. We're forcing the turnover a lot more. Gold Coast turning over 44 to our 36. Even on the clearances, pretty much 17 to 16. Although Gold Coast are leading the centre clearances 10 to 5, but we're leading around the ground 11 to 7. Saucer's doing all right in the ruck, just breaking pretty much even. Gold Coast are showing their pace and desire to bounce the ball, but I think it's also because we've got them covered quite a bit, so they don't seem to know what to do, so they're hanging on to the ball a bit, and frees are pretty even. G'day to J-Mac on the chat. Don't know how serious Talia's injury is. It didn't look flash, although they haven't got ice on it, which is a bit of a surprise. Not quite sure what's going on there, but a little bit of a surprise that we're not so. Well, they may ice it up at half time, or they may be thinking just not to ice it up just yet in case they need to bring him back on. I'd expect to see him iced up after the break, particularly cooling down. Some of the individual stats. And I gotta say, it's great to see Brad Crouch back. Not only just to be back in the team, but also to be playing as well as he is so far. 22 touches, 10 kicks, 12 handballs. He's had 5 tackles. He's had 2 inside 50s. It's just been fantastic to watch him back in the game. 9 contested possessions. Disposal efficiency a little bit down, but you'd expect that coming back in. But a really good reintroduction to AFL footy this match, and it's good to see his brothers on 20, 8 and 12, so good to see Matt kicking it a bit, including a goal. Also 2 tackles, 2 inside 50s for Matt, going at a much better rate of 75%, and importantly for Matt, 7 clearances as well. I think one of the commentators said if you're going to rock up with peroxide, how you better perform, and Rory Atkins is doing that. 18 posies, 2 marks, 6 inside 50s. He's been fantastic, bouncing off that half-back flank and off the wing and delivering inside forward 50. He just adds something. When he's up and about, he just adds something coming off the back of the square or off the defensive side of the contest, and I thought his game so far has been really good. Only the 2 contested possessions, but going at nearly 78% efficiency. So that's what we want from Rory. Speaking of Rorys, we had 2 Rorys on exactly the same possession counts, both Sloane and Laird on 8 kicks, 9 handballs for 17 posies. But Rory Sloane, 8 tackles as well, 4 inside 50s. Only the 4 contested possessions, but going at nearly 90% disposal efficiency. 3 clearances. He's got to actually now be a serious or in the conversation for the Brownlow medal this early on. I don't know many players in the competition that work so hard as well as create. Sloane does it all. He kicks goals, he creates play, he's in and under, and he's the hardest working two-way runner in the competition, I reckon, and he's playing a pretty good game at the moment. The others that are going well, Andy Otten is doing particularly well, particularly with Daniel Talia down for the match. Poor old Andy's sort of back and forth a little bit, but he's had the 12 posies with 3 marks, also 3 inside 50s, and he's just... What would we have done without Andy Otten? I mean, I don't think anyone would have said at the beginning of the season that Andy Otten was going to be an invaluable player for us this season, but so far, with the injuries that we've had, and the fact that we haven't got any cover for Sauce at the moment, Andy Otten has just been an absolutely invaluable player for the Adelaide Crows, and he's done well again today. The other one to rate a mention is Cole Hartigan. Not great stats, but I thought whenever the ball has been 50-50 coming into their defence, coming into their forward line, I thought Hartigan has done a particularly good job. The only time he's really been beaten is when it's been put lace out to one of their players and he's been at a disadvantage. But 6 1%ers for the half, which is a team high for Kyle. I thought he's done an excellent job to half time. It's pretty even apart from that. Everyone's chipping in. Riley Knight's done some really good things, including turning Gary Ablett inside out to feed off to Sloane for Sloaney's goal. Tommy Lynch is working really hard both ways. He's had the 11 touches, 8 and 3, but he's had the 6 marks, game high, 6 marks for the Crows. And if you could kick straight, he'd have four goals up until now. But his disposal efficiency is just a little bit down. But he's just invaluable, and you wouldn't mind betting that Eade might try and tighten up him in the second half just because he provides so much outlet for us. Kirtley Hampton, I thought, has been really good. 10 posies, 4 and 6, the 5 marks as well, the 4 tackles, and that's been his trademark so far this year. Kirtley Hampton, he's been really good defensively. And that's continued. Only the 1 contested possession, but his disposal efficiency has been pretty good at 80%, and I thought he's done pretty well. Troy Menzel's been a little bit in and out, as has Charlie Cameron. Jakey Lever's been good when required. He's only had the 3 marks, though, and he needs to understand that I've got him in Scorpus's Game of Crows this week. And he needs to lift his game and start intercepting Tommy Lynch a little bit more. Miller has been good. Betts has been good. Probably for the first time this season, I saw Betts lair eyes when he tried that inside-out banana when he could have given off. And if I'm going to make a comment about the general play, I thought we looked extremely powerful in the first quarter and very efficient. Second quarter, however, I felt it's the first time this year, even including the Bombers game, it's the first time this season that we've started to lair eyes. We stopped doing the little things. We started being a little bit cute. We started just not doing the 1%ers and just trying to pull off the ridiculous pass or the low percentage kick or handball. I'd really like to see us tighten up in the second half and put the foot on the throat of the Gold Coast Suns. They're not a bad side, Gold Coast. Their midfield is excellent. And we are down back, and they've got 2 of the tallest key forwards in the comp. So if we give them a sniff and it's late in the game, those tall blokes don't get any smaller, and I just wouldn't want to see us waste away opportunities, because for all that work we did in the second quarter and for all that percentage of possession that we had in the second quarter, we didn't really put it on the scoreboard. We only kicked, the 4-3 for the quarter, even though it should have been probably double that. And I'd really like us to be a little bit more ruthless in the second half. Not a lot else to say, really. I just feel like, as I said before, we just need to tighten up a little bit. We're playing like we feel the game is won, but I don't think it's won just yet. Gold Coast can score quickly. They have some quick, speedy midfielders and some good marking forwards, as I mentioned. So we need to come out in the second half, particularly in the third quarter, with a really ruthless mindset, play really efficient football. Now, there's a couple of people on the chat talking about the hamstrings that are starting to infiltrate the club, and I will agree. Daniel Talia would not be the sort of person that you would expect would be getting a hamstring injury. He doesn't. He's not a speedster. He doesn't do a lot of running. His work is body on body, and for him to get and it looks again like a high hamstring to Talia, which is the same injury that Mitchy McGovern got. He doesn't seem like the candidate to have a high hamstring injury, and I just wonder whether there's a bit of an issue down there with the training regime at the moment, or the training that we've done. We've had a few hamstrings. Brad Crouch has just come back from one. Obviously, McGovern's out for 10 to 12 weeks with a really bad one. And Tails, I reckon it looks to me as if Tails might have gone off with a slight one that if he'd stayed on another 5 seconds might have turned into a bad one, which is what happened to McGovern. So it's going to be interesting to see what the Crows have to say about the increasing hamstring count on the injury list, because we're starting to get pretty down on tools at the moment. You would imagine that Talia's going to spend some time on the injury list, which means that Andy Otten's going to have to go back, and Jono Beach is going to have to come in up forward. And we're starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel, really, in terms of tall defensive players now. We haven't got too many left in the twos, and we really only have Beach, who had a good first half in the SANFL, and probably Harry Deer at a stretch that needs to that can back up. So I'm just reading what Nicky's written here. The Talia, I think, would be a minor one just from the way he was walking and how late it was before they put the ice on him. Yeah, that might be true, Nick, but I reckon they were late putting ice on him because they wanted to make sure that he didn't need to come back on. I noticed they had him taped up, but not iced. And as I mentioned at the top of the show, I reckon they just didn't want to ice him straight up just in case he needed to come on just for a couple of minutes just to provide some cover. But I'd expect to see him with a nice big ice pack on the second half. You can't deny though that these high hamstring injuries are starting to become a bit of an issue, Nick, and we'll probably have a chat about that during the week. Look, so the second half, I feel, as I mentioned before, just needs to be more of the same, but a little bit more of a concerted effort, a little bit more ruthless, as I mentioned. I felt like there's been some really good minutes put in by Hampton and Knight, and I'd like to see them run a little bit more through the middle. But apart from that, it's really steady as she goes, as far as I'm concerned. The boys certainly came out to play in the first half. I'm just reading Twitter here, just in case someone's tweeting me and I'm not watching. Let's have a look. Nicky reckons that he might be getting nervous about only having 4 goals to go. Well, he had a couple of pretty average shots, Nick, in that first half, but and then he had a crack at one that he probably shouldn't have. I'm just worried about our lair rising. It's something that we tend to do when we're on top. Haven't seen it so far this year, but today I've seen it creep in just with a couple of average efforts or speculative disposals in that second quarter. So, look, I won't ramble on. We're on the 15-minute mark, so not long until the game starts again. So I will leave you for now, and we will see you on Sunday night at 7 o'clock for the weekend wrap with Nicky and Macca. Thanks, guys, for joining me on the chat, and go Crows.